Hello everyone, so a lot of people have been requesting on how I make gold. If you can look on the bottom left side of my screen, you'll see that I currently have 2,037 gold. So a lot of people are like, wow, that's a lot of gold, how do you make it? So it's not that bad. A lot of it depends on patience. I do not play the market. I do not buy items, cheap and sell them expensive. I don't do any crafting. I'm just playing the game and doing dailies. That's my main source of income. So if we can see here, you press P, so normally it'll be in attributes over here, and you go over to your premium. So everyone got 7 days of premium for free. So what you want to notice is down here, quest currency rewards increased by 30%. It's really nice to have premium right now because of this 30% increase in reward, which gives money, basically. It gives a lot of money for a lot of quests. So first of all, obviously it's going to be quite important to be relatively strong. You're going to need to sit at about 1.1k AP. If you're in a pre-made and that everyone knows mechanics of the dungeons, then you could probably get away with about 1,000 AP, 1,050 AP, somewhere along those lines. However, the dungeons that we're doing are not easy. First of all, it's going to be Hollow's Heart. I do all my dungeons in normal mode. I do not do hard mode because there is no benefit. There's no extra benefit. If it gave extra gold, I would actually bust my ass and try to learn the dungeon. But until now, it doesn't give extra gold, so I just do normal mode. So the first dungeon I always do is Hollow's Heart. This gives about 14 gold. I do Starstone Mines next, which gives about 10 to 12 gold. And then I would, usually I skip Ebon Drake Lair. However, if I want to do it for some reason, I do it. I always do Iron Tech Forge, I always do Naru Sanctum, I always do Foundry. So after doing those maps, then I would just work my way down. After I finish Foundry, I would go to Desolate Tomb, Ebon Drake Citadel, and then Sogun's Lament. No, I never do Sogun's Lament, I lied. I don't do Sogun's Lament. I do Shattered Masts, and then I do Cold Storage, I do Avalanche Den, I do Lair of the Frozen Fang, and I do Heaven's Mandate. So that's my list that I go through. That is what I considered Purple Train. I would just go down that list, complete all those dungeons, and just make sure that I didn't miss any of the regular daily missions, and that's a wrap for me. That's 1 day on this character. And by doing that, I end up with about 56 gold. So after I gain my 56 gold, I log off and I switch on to my gunner. And then I'll do everything that I just said on my gunner. So obviously to do this, it's quite important to have semi-decent gear. Like if you're gonna F8 it the entire time, you're gonna have a rough time finding a party and doing it this smoothly. Like by doing my entire Purple Train, it takes me about an hour and a half at most to finish everything. To do both of my characters, the Summoner and my Gunner, it takes about 2 to 2.5 hours and I'm done. And I'm done with all my characters, I've got nothing else to do and I log off and I try to do something else. But yeah, that's how I make money. Other than that, there's no secret. I don't play the market, I don't buy gold. Unless I'm doing Trove, of course, because, I need money for Trove. But yeah, there's no real big secret. It's just slowly accumulating your gold. Because I have 2 characters that do this every day and I make about 50 gold per character, or 56 gold if you want to get technical. But, that's 100 gold per day. So it builds up after a couple days. I've got 1,000, and then it slowly builds up that way. I know this video probably didn't help most of you, since a lot of you can't do Hollow's Heart and Starstone Mines. These 2 are slightly difficult dungeons, and as well as Ebon Drake Lair and Iron Tech Forge. These 4 dungeons are quite difficult for a lot of newcomers. So it's kind of, it's difficult. I understand it is difficult. However, at the very minimum, I feel like most people should be able to do, Desolate Tomb and below, and maybe Foundry even. Maybe even Naru Foundry. Working your way down, basically. Find the hardest dungeon that you can do. So for most people, hopefully, it's going to be Nary Sanctum. If you don't know how to do Nary Sanctum, I do have a video guide that you can check out. But starting at Nary Sanctum, the AP requirement for this is not very high. I've done Nary Sanctum with a pre-made with about 800 AP. And since now, once you finish the story, you should be sitting about somewhere close to 1000 AP. You know, it'll make it much easier. Just make sure that you know how to play your class and you know the mechanics of the dungeon. Then you won't have too much of a problem. But work your way from Nary Sanctum, then Naru Foundry, Desolate Tomb, Eben Drake's Citadel, and then just work your way down the Purple Train that way. That's also a way to build up resources, get some gold, and then slowly upgrade your gear. If you're F8ing, it's kind of a waste, but I mean it does help if you go Raven 3. By having a Raven weapon in F8, a lot of people just assume you're strong and they won't kick you. And even though it's not as economical, it does help a little bit to get into parties. While if you're always in a pre-made, then obviously if you go to the Riftwalk or the Dawnforge path, obviously getting to 6 and then switching over, or even better going to 9 and switching over is also a good way to, you know. But anyway, I hope this video helped, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
What can I say except you're welcome? For the heels, the